All right. Day before Christmas, everyone's full of Christmas cheer, aren't they? No, well depressed. United face off against Newcastle on Boxing Day. So here's a quick little tactical preview of how that is going to go down. Now, Newcastle sit literally the place below us in the league. We are 8th, they are 9th. They've actually got better form than us. Winning 3 of their last 5, drawing 1, losing 1, whereas we have won 2, drawn 2, and lost 1. Team news-wise, I think Pogba's probably going to start after making his first appearance off the bench against Watford. No idea yet on Eric Bailly. I'm not sure when Solskjaer's doing his preview, his press conference for it. I imagine he's doing that on Christmas Eve, but I recorded this yesterday, so if he said anything absolutely wild, then all right, well, soz, I recorded it yesterday. Fosu Mensah, I think, is close to returning to the team, but I'd be shocked if he was ready. Hopefully someone does ask about him, because I actually think his energy in midfield could be a welcome bit of impact. I think he'd probably feature in the 23s first, unlike Pogba. I think that, he's literally still of that age group, so why not give him a run out in there and see what he could do. Mason Greenwood, I think, should be looking likely to start after a string of really good performances coming off the bench. We know Newcastle are going to sit deep. We know they're going to try and be physical with us. We have to do something different. I have got something different in mind. I just hope that Ollie is able to do it. Opposition-wise, we're looking at Newcastle level now on points with United, both on 25. Not quite safe yet, either of us. They set up in a 3-5-2. Top scorer is John Joe Shelvey, and probably is going to be a bit of a threat. Old Voldemort is. 5 goals from midfield. San Maxim, obviously going to be in a danger, but he's sidelined for a month, having picked up an injury against Southampton. Almiron finally got his first Newcastle goal against Palace, probably high on confidence. Could cause us issues, but like anybody could cause us issues, to be honest, at the moment. They're unbeaten in their last 8 home Premier League matches, their longest run at St James's Park since April 2012. Obviously, this game's at Old Trafford, so not too much really impacting on that. For United, here's my starting 11 that I think we should be going for. I'm returning to the 4-3-3 because for me, the 4-3-3 gets the best out of what we're looking for. We can't play a number 10, and Pogba isn't a number 10. Pogba is an attacking midfielder. And Pogba is a very good attacking midfielder, and he's a playmaker. And I think Fred, to some degree, is a bit of a playmaker. And I think you could play McTominay as a 6 and be the destroyer and give him 2 options, one left, one right, and he's just got to make those simple passes. He can do that. I actually think that the inclusion of Pogba off the bench shown up how McTominay has been. Now, we've shown how much we missed him when he came back into the team the other week. In those City and Spurs games, he was very good. But I think it highlighted just how poor he is on the ball. When Pogba and Fred, when Fred came in, when Pogba came in, it highlighted what Fred and McTominay have just been unable to do, and that is play the balls in between the lines. I think if you give an opposition midfield Pogba as well as Fred, I think Fred won't look as bad because obviously a lot of the attention is going to be diverted towards Pogba. And if you leave the number 10 space available, because Pogba, when he's played with a number 10, has always looked a little bit shackled, but you place Pogba there and allow him to drift into that area where the number 10 operates, I actually think you'll create a little bit of space. I think it gets very congested when you play a number 10 just off in that area there. So I'm going to say, let's just pull these back a little bit and give them room to move into and places that they can fire balls into. I've dropped 4 players. I dropped Lindelof for Axel. I've dropped Luke Shaw for Brandon Williams. I've dropped James for Mason Greenwood. And I've dropped Lingard for Paul Pogba. So actually, I guess it's technically 4 academy graduates coming into the team there, isn't it, including Pogba. So that's what I want to go with. De Gea in net, Axel and Maguire. I'm seeing a lot of people saying Lindelof's been brilliant this season. You really need to go and watch some of the places where he gets dragged out of position, which leaves the defence a little bit exposed. He's had good moments. He's had some shocking moments. The physical threat that I think Newcastle offer, I want to go with Axel. He's not perfect either, and neither's Maguire, but I think the easier one to solve is Lindelof for Axel. Give him an opportunity. Brandon Williams offers far more in the final third, and I actually think he offers about the same, if not more, because of how agile and quick on his feet is. I think he's a lot faster thinking, and I think he just puts himself around more than Luke Shaw does. I think Luke Shaw's quite lazy. I don't think he really pushes himself that hard in a game, and I definitely don't think you're saying that about Brandon Williams. With the forward lineup, James is quite one-dimensional, and he's been getting good at what we've asked him to do. I thought a very clever cross where he managed to actually get his head up and play a brilliant ball in against Watford. He's definitely improved on that, but I think you need a little bit more guile, and the guile is going to come in the form of Mason Greenwood. You play a forward to keep the defence occupied, because I don't think Mason's quite ready to lead the line just yet. You could play him in a partnership, but I don't think he's ready to just be that number 9. And I think Tony's link-up play has been decent. The guile coming from Greenwood on that side, coming in onto his left foot and getting some shots off. Marcus on the left-hand side doing the opposite on his right foot. And that is a forward 3 that can score us some goals. So that's what I'm hoping we get to see a little bit of. Some goals from that forward 3 and a midfield 3 that can actually start playing football and taking it into an opposition's half. We saw flashes of that against Watford. The difference having Paul Pogba made. Let's see if we can do it for 90 minutes, and let's cut the fucking mistakes out in defence. Every single one of our... no one's just scored an absolute worldie and you go, well, what can we do with that? That hasn't happened, has it? It's been, what the fuck was that, lads? Even against Liverpool, there was 3 people didn't manage to cut a cross out, and you're like, are we just, all right, okay. The penalty against Watford, preventable. I mean, I did say the week before, and I definitely set us up for it by saying, if Wan-Bissaka just starts giving away 3 penalties in a season, you have to be all right with it, really. Because he goes to ground so often and his timing's so perfect that he's probably going to mess up at some stage. And I think you just have to forgive him because how deadly he's been otherwise. And I'll stand by that. The first goal, though, Luke Shaw should have stopped it. Simple as. But David De Gea just has to do something. I can't even think about how simple a mistake that is. That's the cross you have to bear as a goalkeeper. If you fuck up as a goalkeeper, your team loses. More or less. Now, that's not to say that the defence is the only reason that we're not winning games. We would have drawn or won that game had we put some of our chances away. We had 8 shots on target. That's usually enough to get 1 or 2 goals. If you're feeling a little bit clinical, you might get 3 out of it. But not to score 1 or 2. You can't be coming off the pitch nilled and thinking there's not a lot of problems going on. There's clearly a lot of problems, and some of those look like they were fixable once Pogba came on. Someone with a little bit of quality. I've got some questions from the guys in Discord. Let's have a look what those guys are saying. Do I think if Pogba starts, it's a silly risk from Ollie, feeling under pressure and risking injuring him so soon again? Not really, because I have no idea what the crack is with his injury. Supposedly he was fit, he just got an illness. So if it's just an illness that he had to recover from, I think he'll probably be all right. Any chance of Romero taking De Gea's spot after his weaknesses have been exploited again? And is there a chance that Henderson takes the number 1 spot in the next year or 2? I'd be shocked if Henderson did manage to take that number 1 spot without a... That's not to say it wouldn't happen. Christ, I don't want to see it. But if there was a continued run where De Gea's doing what he's done against Everton and what he's done against Watford every week or even every other week, I think there'd be a lot of calls to change him for Romero or Henderson. But... I'd be surprised. I think there's been some shocking performances in our team, and they've been stuck with longer than what De Gea's doing. So if Romero does start, I will be shocked, but I wouldn't completely rule it out either because he has been bad, and Romero never puts a foot wrong. Maybe that would be what... I mean, this is purely where we find out what Ollie's man management's like. Does he keep playing him and playing through the bad spell? Because I would argue that De Gea's earned the right to do that. Or does he think taking him out of the spotlight and letting Romero have a few games is the best thing? This is where Ollie earns his money. Let's find out. Jack, Pogba as a 10 or boot Fred McTominay and play him as a 6. Well, you saw, and Nip knows on it. Pogba returning, make a 4-3-3 viable again. There you go. That's what I went with. Who do I think will score first? Not a clue. Paul Pogba obviously is going to be such a key player for us in this game. For however this goes off, it's going to all be on Paul Pogba. How much does Pogba's creativity improve our chances against Newcastle who sit back? It's vital. It's absolutely vital. And I've seen some people going, you shouldn't need to bring in this, that and the other to beat Watford at home. Well, why not? Every other decent team plays their best players, don't they? No one goes, it's only Watford, so we're going to play not our strongest team. If you've got good players in your team, you fucking use them. How's the home and away support during the rough times this season? It's the same as it always is. There's like weird murmurs, half-time and full-time, but it's not the general vibe. The general vibe is one of support. Tom, I make it a banging homemade sausage roll. How many should I bring to the Ashley Young retirement party? I fucking love homemade sausage rolls. They've got like about them, haven't they? Like a good little, yeah, you know what I mean. Silver, would a 3-5-2 suit the team better? Does Shaw deserve to be number one left back? No, definitely not. And 3-5-2, I'd be open to it. I think 3-5-2 could get a lot of good out of us, yeah. You've got options up front. Now Pogba's back, you can certainly play a 3 in midfield. Obviously, you probably need to do something with Wan-Bissaka. Maybe that's where Laird comes in. Maybe that's where Delo comes in. We haven't got a perfect squad, have we? I think that's our issue. Ash, how much patience do I think the board will show with Ole? Can't keep getting embarrassed like they have been and think he'll survive the season. You've got to accept that it's a rebuild. And I saw so many people quoting me yesterday saying rebuild, but it is a fucking rebuild. It is a rebuild. The difference with Fergie's rebuild is when he dipped, he came third. All right? We don't have Fergie. We don't have those players anymore. This rebuild's going to take some time. We're changing the whole culture of this football team and this football club. It's going to take some time. You know, we've lurched from one philosophy under Louis van Gaal to the quick fix philosophy that didn't quite work. I mean, look at all the players that Jose Mourinho signed. Mkhitaryan, gone. Pogba, we've had him like once in the last 3 months. Zlatan, gone. Baye, he's not been seen since before the end of last season. Who else he signed? Delo, not used. Fred, not used. Fred only just about being used. Grant, not used. So, out of the last how many managers, and how much money there's been spent on this team, you've got fucking Fred available. You know, this team has had money spent on it, but it's been spent like a fucking idiot spent it. Some might argue an idiot has fucking spent it. I think there's just got to be time. No, I always preach time. And do you know why I always preach time? Because it's what I actually fucking believe. I believe this job is so fucking difficult that to turn us around, I can see the comments coming already. I'm sick of repeating myself over the same thing. Leicester didn't need a transitional period. Leicester didn't need a whole new midfield. Leicester's a really good team. The fact that most of Leicester's team is wanted by every other fucking team tells you exactly what they're thinking about. How many people are knocking on the door for McTominay as good as he's been this season? Nowhere near as many as are knocking on the door for Ndidi or Maddison or Tielemans, are they? Do you know what I'm saying? No, Jamie Vardy's in the form of his life. Okay, if he wasn't, where would he be? They'd be a lot worse, wouldn't they? You know, if Manchester City fell to pieces because they only had about half a billion worth of defenders available, and they didn't adequately replace Company, and they fell to pieces. We haven't had Paul Pogba, and for a large part of that, we didn't have Tony Marshall. And we said at the start of the season, you lose a couple of players, this squad is paper thin. You lose a couple of players and we are fucked. And guess what? We was fucked. And that's what... Is our squad better than Watford? Yes. But football's not that fucking simple, is it? Solskjaer's reign right now is almost identical to what Jose's reign was, with a worse team. Would anyone here tell you that Solskjaer's a better manager than Jose? Probably not, right? Looking at the CV of the two men, right? Probably not. He might be a better fit for United personality-wise, but in terms of like pure managerial ability, you'd have to go with Jose, right? Jose was there almost 3 years, spent 400 million on a team, and had last year, at the start of the season, up till December when we sacked him, a record of X. Now that, compared to what we've got right now in terms of games won, drawn and drossed, is almost identical. And we've had a net spend of 40 million under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he's lost Lukaku, Sanchez, Herrera, who probably go straight into the first team. Fellaini, who was the plan B under Mourinho. But he's also lost the likes of Valencia, Chris Smalling. There's 6 straight away. 6 first-team players. And he's replaced them with youngsters. If you honestly think that you're going to get the same level of consistency with youngsters that, albeit I'm a massive fan of and think that they've got a brilliant potential, but you're not going to get the level of consistency. This is what literally young players literally mean. Lack of consistency. Give them a couple of years and they might be world beaters. We are literally changing the fabric of the fucking team to be one that wants to play the way Ollie does. And the comparisons with what Klopp did at Liverpool are totally valid. You can't look back at what Klopp's done now with a rose tint and go, they always knew. Bollocks, they always knew. They didn't always knew. They rode it out. Yeah? They fucking rode it out. And when he eventually got he hasn't improved anyone. Well, I think he has. Right? And if you don't think he has, sound, I disagree. But people are telling me that Klopp has massively improved this guy, massively improved that. Well, why did he fucking sign anybody then if he could just improve them? Same with fucking Pep Guardiola. Why has he spent $1 billion on players if he was just that good a coach that he could just fucking click his fingers and improve everyone? Why did he buy Van Dijk if he could just improve, I don't know, fucking Lovren? We have to buy better players. And once Ollie has got 6 or 7 of his players in the first team, if he's not doing it, I'll be the first to say it's not fucking working with him. But we are a year in, for fuck's sake. A year, and people are losing their goddamn fucking minds. This is a fucking thing that we like to do for a fucking hobby. Voluntary. I don't remember anyone being sentenced to have to watch United. If you get that upset about it, maybe it's not for you. Stop fucking watching. Stop losing your fucking minds. Get some perspective, man. No one likes watching United win. But where's the taking it in your stride? Yep, all right. Didn't get it today. Let's hope we do better next week. It's not fucking... It's not the reason to go around absolutely fucking tearing your fucking hair out and screaming at people you've never fucking met. That's weird behaviour. I'm going to wrap it up there. On that depressing note, it's fucking Christmas. Get absolutely shit-faced. Have a good old day. I'll see you on Boxing Day if you're about. Merry Christmas.